The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back. Another high episode of HBCU. I wish your boy Pooh Bear. I got my man Aunt Petty Murphy in the building. What's good with you, my boy?
It's a Monday. If a Monday ever Monday. But it's all good.
Yeah, I agree. Headlight in my car went out, right? So I got to go get a new one. So I hit up AutoZone and looked this up. I did some research how to change this thing, and this talk. I said, "Oh, this is easy." You know what I'm saying? YouTube is your friend. I was like, "This is easy. I just need to get the headlight." I was gonna even splurge a little bit and get the little fancy light that shine real bright. Went to AutoZone. Was like, "Hey, can you tell me the difference between the H13 and the H11?" He was like, "I think it's just a connector, but I don't think that's what you need." Said, "You might need you might have a kit, HID kit on your car." I was like, "I'm sorry, who?" He said, "Do you have an HID kit?" I said, I'm sorry, what?" He said, "Come on, let's go look at your car." And so we look, and I said, "Here you go. This is where my light bulb at right here." I said, "Nah, that ain't it." He said, "You see this little symbol right here? It's got the electrical board on it. That tell you that this is high voltage. And you see how it's bolted down?" He said, "You got to unscrew all this and get this out. Oh yeah, by the way, your light bulb's $130 something a piece." I said, "So you mean to tell me I got to go to the dealership and get this?" He said, "Nah, you ain't got to go to the dealership, but it's gonna be expensive wherever you go."
Yeah.
I was like, "You know what? Bless your heart.
Fancy cars, man. That's what you get.
It ain't even no fancy car. I ain't gonna tell you what kind of car I got, but I'm just gonna say it ain't fancy by no means. You know, I'm a man of what they call them, simple means,
modest means.
Either way, I'm. Needless to say, I'm gonna be broke on Friday, because I gotta get headlights in the car fixed. I called my daddy immediately and told him I don't want to be an adult anymore. And
I feel you.
Told him I'm tired of living in the hood. He was like, you don't live in the hood, you live in a nice place. I said, I'm talking about adulthood. I'm tired of being here. It's ghetto. I don't want to be here anymore. But it is what it is, man. Yeah, Nick, we ain't talking about that tonight, but let's go ahead and get started. Y'all know what it is. Shout out to everybody tuning in. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. It was good, Josh. Was good, Nick. Yeah. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. But here you go. Y'all know what it is. We got to give a shout out to our sponsors over at BetOnline. BetOnline.ag. We will be back in 1 minute. BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. right, we are back. Doc, see that? You know what? This is why he's the man. Dr. Cavill said meager.
That's it.
There we go.
That's the word I was looking.
I was gonna go full Dave Chappelle. What Dave Chappelle? I'm broke. I was gonna go full Dave Chappelle, man. But definitely, man. But let's start here, man. Basketball, college basketball is back. We got a lot of action in HBCU going on. Howard taking on Hampton for the battle of HU, and on the basketball side, Mississippi Valley is they made a visit to Baton Rouge. Yeah, they're there. North Carolina Central made a visit to
number one team in the country.
Yeah, number one team in the country. Yeah, it's not looking good.
I would say though, Alcorn made a trip up to Arkansas, and it's respectable. I mean,
I'm pulling up all the scores now so we can.
It's 61-35. That's
yeah, yeah. 60. Number 14 team is up 61-35. Grambling is taking on North Texas Dallas. They up 29-20. Now this one is very respectable. Alabama State is holding serve and staying and keeping it close with Ole Miss. Ole Miss is up 40-36. Missouri is up on Arkansas Pine Bluff 57-40, and Memphis is up on Jackson State 61-49. So there's a lot of definitely deep now. Oh, here we go. Minnesota 50, Bethune-Cookman 33. You ready for this one? TCU 20, Southern 19. It's still first half in that one.
Yeah.
Later on, Texas Southern will take on New Mexico. And then
women too, by the way.
Say what now?
Say I think the only win was Norfolk State women so far.
Okay. And then we got Prairie View beat Kansas Christian 89-66. That's in the SWAC. Let's check out the MEAC. You got Temple 66-45 on Maryland Eastern Shore. We already mentioned the North Carolina Central score. VTech is up on Coppin State 59-31. Morgan State will take on number 12 Arizona at 8:30. South Carolina State beat Voorhees 65-57. Penn State beat Delaware State 79-45. Norfolk State beat Penn State Wilkes. What's this? Wilkes Barnes? I don't know. Anyway, it's 102-55, and Howard did beat Hampton 92-80. So let's see what else. Look at some of these other schools. Where's Tennessee State? What they do? Tennessee State is up on Fisk 18-14 in the first half. North Carolina A&T, where are you?
They played Georgia.
No. That's the women. Women played Georgia. Men played Pittsburgh and lost 100-52.
Okay.
Yep. So that's just the men's side. Let us take a gander over at the women's side, which I expect to see a lot of upsets on the women's side. When things get rolling later on, maybe not tonight, but definitely later on. All right, come on now. Let's go. Let's go to North Carolina A&T. You did mention Norfolk State beat William and Mary 66-64. This is on the women's side. Georgia beat North Carolina A&T 71-59. All right, that's that. Now where we at? In the MEAC, Temple beat Delaware State 109-43. George Washington beat Howard, barely edged them out 64-58. Morgan State beat Washington something. What's this? Washington Adventists 59-57. Let's see who else we got. Georgetown beat Maryland Eastern Shore 61-50, and LaSalle beat Coppin State 73-68. Now for the SWAC. Baylor is up at the end of the third, 61-43. At halftime, UAPB. Shout out to Coach Thornton. UAPB is up on Oregon State 46-33 at half. Okay. Utah beat Mississippi Valley State 104-45. Mississippi State beat Alcorn State 77-42. UAB escaped with one over Alabama A&M 70-63. Oh my! This one hurt my feelings. I thought somebody should. I hope they catch a cramp in their foot. Alabama women beat Alabama State 93-39. UCF beat Bethune 101-63. Grambling beat Champion Christians 93-48, and New Mexico beat Texas Southern 76-59. So that is it for basketball right now. But basketball is getting hot and heavy. So
just talking these games, though, man.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting, man. We're gonna have to get I reached out. We definitely gonna have a HBCU basketball, you know what I'm saying, episode coming very soon, talking about some of these teams, how they look. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Definitely looking forward to it. So but man, let's talk about some of these games that we had this weekend. And some of these games may have created some situations where some schools may be looking to make some changes. We talked about some seats being extra warm. I ain't gonna say they're hot, but what you say?
They can't sit down, man.
They're gonna have the coach standing up. They're gonna have the coach standing up. Southern versus Alcorn State. Alcorn State got the win 44-21. And it's not looking. First of all, I do want to say this. Shout out to Aaron Allen. I know we've shouted him out several times. My goodness. That young man definitely, you know, saying iron sharp as iron. He was told pretty much he was not named a starter. He was basically, I'm not gonna say thrown away. He's definitely wasn't that, but he was basically, you know, not given a chance, and he's responded so well. We'll talk a little bit more about him later on. But you know, saying since it's out there, you know, I might as well say another conference player of the week. And nobody, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about it. Shout out, Coach.
Ain't nothing else you can really say. He playing the best ball in the SWAC right now at the quarterback position. As evident by the Player of the Week awards he seems to get on a weekly basis. But as good of a game as he had, Jarvian Howard had a hell of a game also, even though he didn't touch the end zone. He was a workload, 128 yards. I mean, I'm going to ask you a question you asked me last week. What happened to Southern defense?
Defense seems to be an issue in the state of Louisiana as a whole. I'm not sure. I'm you talk about
I'm just saying though, if you would have told me that Alcorn would have put up 44, I would have told you that it must have went to overtime or something. Like be for real though. Like 44, that don't shock you a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what to say.
And
I really don't. Hell of a game by Alcorn. Shout out to Coach McNair. This time last year, people were writing him off. Basically, if I'm not mistaken, he canceled his coach's show for the remainder of the season. Fans were upset, calling for his head, and now he got me looking smart. Winner of the Grambling Alcorn State game gonna win the SWAC West.
He did. That's for sure.
I just didn't see it going this way. I thought so. I'll say this: I thought Alcorn would be good this year, based off the spring game, but the reasons I thought they would be good are not the reasons they are good. I thought Jarvion Howard was going to be, and don't get me wrong, young man's been balling. He's had a great year. But I thought it was going to be the Tyler Macon show. And it turns out it is the Aaron Allen show.
Yeah. And
that
defense, you got to get that defense credit, man.
Yeah. Man, come on. Talk to me about it. What our man G say? It's a crackhead defense. Everybody want the rock.
Yeah, man. I mean, they 5 turnovers, bro. I mean, it seemed like they was taking turns out there getting, forcing turnovers, scooping fumbles, getting picked. I mean,
let's talk about Southern.
I don't know what's worse, really, when you look at Southern. Is it the offense and how bad they play, or how the defense has kind of been looking these past few weeks? Because that was your calling card, and now you can't even hang your hat on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I really don't. Southern fans are they calling for Dooley head.
It seems like that's been all season.
Yeah, they've been calling for his head. Last year was he waited till the last game, to the championship game, to put in the right quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was we may have the right quarterback. I honestly don't know. The offense showed promise, and then they didn't. We talked about the Magic City Classic being the game that could determine which coach keeps their job.
That's the Bayou Classic.
The Bayou Classic is now that game. It's Pink Slip Sunday, or Pink Slip Saturday, I guess you can say. It's gonna be interesting. Speaking of that, let's talk about that other game. Grambling State versus Alabama State.
Man, I'm so glad I didn't go to that game, bro.
You, me both. Rev asked about that. He said, I thought y'all were gonna come to the game. Yeah, no.
Grambling didn't give me a reason to go to that game.
I don't think Grambling went to the game.
Offense show didn't show up.
Alabama State got the win 17-6. And while I want to say that, Alabama State's defense showed up and put on this, this spectacular showing and stuff. For the first time, I guess you can say, Grambling's offense just didn't produce.
Yeah.
I said that Alabama State would win this game, but Miles Crowley would have a day.
A day to forget.
He had a decent game, but he threw 2 picks.
Based off what we've seen from him this year,
that was, from what we know of him,
it was a bad game.
Yeah. Now, 21 or 31, 197 and a touchdown. If I stop right there, you'd be like, Miles Crowley had a game, 2 picks.
A decent game, yeah. Then he threw 2 picks, and that makes it a bad game.
And he lost a fumble.
Yep.
So,
yeah. So, I mean, when you're looking at it like that, he had a day to forget. Well, on the other side, Keyshawn Johnson had a hell of a game.
Yeah. 7 catches, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Beat Grambling by himself.
Here's the fun thing about this. Grambling only had 62 yards rushing.
Yep. And that's what I thought was going to be the difference maker.
Alabama State only had 94 yards passing.
But see, this is the problem with me for Grambling. How many pass attempts you said? 31?
31.
How many rushing attempts they had?
18. And 3 of them are sacks, look like. So basically 15 rushing attempts.
So basically 2-1.
Pretty much.
So I mean, that's when you're looking at it like that, I mean, I see why they ain't really run the ball that well, because they didn't commit to the running game.
Yep. Alabama State had 41 rushing attempts.
Committed to the run.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know, man. I had high hopes for this season. The way it started out, the way the offense was looking, because I had a feeling the defense would start coming around. And
what's good, Jay White?
And they kind of have, in a sense, you know what I mean? They've kind of been playing better, and it's like as they've turned the corner and started to improve, the offense has just disappeared. They can't seem to put it together at the same time. And just like the people in Baton Rouge, the rumblings, they starting around here.
Have they ever stopped?
The beginning of the season, I think it was kind of quiet.
Mm-hmm.
People was willing to give it a chance because of the way the offense looked, and you know what I mean? It was kind of promising what we were seeing.
Yeah.
But I'll say that Alcorn game, since then, especially the A&M game, it started picking up. The A&M game for sure, it got real loud. And then a lot of people traveled all the way to Mobile to watch the team put up 6 points. You know what I mean? That's, as a fan base, that's frustrating.
John Horst says Dooley need to hire offense coordinator from Valdosta State. My question is, does he even get a chance to?
Yeah, that's good.
No comment. We'll leave that one alone.
I mean, I think it all depends on how these last 2 play out. I personally don't think that Grambling's gonna make a move this season. I could be wrong, but I just feel like they're gonna try to.
I guess. I guess the question would be who makes a move first, Grambling or Southern.
I think it depends on how these next 2 weeks play out.
Whoever win it by you, huh?
I mean, it might come down to that.
Yeah.
Or depending on how the team in the loss looks in the Bayou Classic. You know what I mean? Like,
that's
so
fair.
I don't have much of a pulse on Southern, so I mean, I'm just going off what my people say, and they seem to think that Dooley might be gone after this year, but they wanted him gone last year, and they won the West. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little different in the G.
Yeah. Since we talking about hot seats, Florida A&M came to Huntsville, Alabama, and took on Alabama A&M. They got the win 42-28. Let me start off here. When I got to the game, me and young Dilly Willie showed up, and it was literally, we got there probably an hour before the game, right? it's probably more people right now in the chat and on screen than was in the stadium. The players was warming up. Band hadn't came in yet, and it was literally felt like it was empty. And I was like, "Oh, this might be a game we leave early, deal." Said because it's not looking too good for the home team. Like it was nobody. I was seeing so many FAMU fans walking in. They were, saying at the new basketball facility for, I think they had some kind of event in there. So it was a lot, and it was Military Appreciation Day. So it was a lot of people out front with, saying they had a couple Black Hawks, some military vehicles, Chinook helicopter and stuff. It was really nice. But there was nobody. As the game started getting closer to kickoff, the stadium started filling up. I said, okay, it's going to be a decent stadium. It's going to be a decent game. FAMU came out first drive and looked like they look. I'm not going to say unbeatable. It looked perfect. Put it like that. It was perfect. A&M got the ball, 3 and out. Xavier Langford got the start. He got knocked around. They went to punt. They couldn't even get a punt off. FAMU was in the backfield. The punter couldn't even block the punt. They just tackled the punter. Got the ball in short field. FAMU couldn't do anything with it. Ended up kicking the field goal. Kicked back off to Alabama A&M. Another 3 and out. They went to punt. Punt blocked. Probably went 10 yards. A player for FAMU picked up the ball and ran it in the end zone. And to add insult to injury, throw a little salt in the room, he ran the punt over in the end zone. It wasn't even pretty. It wasn't even close. It was like he could have just ran in the end zone and stuff. But no, it looked like he heat-seeking missile, ran the punt over, and I felt bad for the punter. I went over and helped him up. It's like, you okay, sir? Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good, Batman. Nah. But seriously though, it was 17-0 in 5 minutes. And they made a comeback, made it a game, and it became a really good game. But it didn't matter. FAMU pulled away real quick. Still saw the second half. It was over with. What I was telling you it was last week about Alabama A&M in the second half. 2 weeks in a row. They got blasted to open the second half, and it was a wrap. So
you think man on the high? Well,
let me tell you like this. Went up to the press box. Shout out to Mr. Kell. Rosier. I call him Rosier. I know it's Rosier. I think he like Rick Ross' cousin or something. Rosier. Anyway, we was up there and was talking, and he asked the question. He was like, "So, is Maine on the hot seat?" That wasn't the first time I had heard that question that day. On the field, people walk around, people kind of talking about it in whispers and rumors, and the rumblings are loud. So I don't know if it's any truth to it, but I'll tell you this: where smoke is fire, and those are the rumblings. The people are not happy. A&M is a place people like to say, saying they don't really care about football. But I tell you what they care about. They care about, and Coach Maynard said himself, they care about the homecoming and they care about the Magic City Classic. They won homecoming this year. They didn't win homecoming last year. They won homecoming this year, but you played Tuskegee.
Yeah.
You've lost the Magic City Classic
back-to-back years. I was about to say losing the Classic back-to-back years, though.
And think about it. They played. Did they win homecoming last year? I think they won homecoming last year. They did win homecoming last year, so if I'm not mistaken. But the rumblers are loud. Very, very loud. Now on the field, Quincy Casey came in. I will say Quincy Casey came in and it lit a spark under the team. It looked like a completely different team. When he's on, he's on. And he was hot. The defense played inspired. I'm not saying that he needs to be the starter going forward, but I can understand why, Maynard feels comfortable going between him and Langford. Langford looks good at times. Casey looks good at times. So I like I said, I can certainly understand going between both teams. I'm trying to see who did they play for homecoming last year. They're playing Bethune-Cookman for homecoming last year. They got the win, 35-27. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't know what to say. It's gonna be a long off season.
But will they fire him though?
It's hard for me to say. I think he has a team competitor. There's something else was asking me. I was talking to Kevin, and he asked the question, what's the difference between them being 4-5 and being 7-2? And I said it to him, and I wasn't trying to be funny when I said it, but I said everything's self-inflicted. We talked about this last week. So we can look at Vanderbilt game is Vanderbilt, a little bit. I think that I'm not gonna say.
I mean, they started 4-1.
Did they start 4-1? No, they didn't. They lost to Southern.
I thought that was game 5.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so they started 3-2.
They started 3-2.
Okay.
So even Southern game, throw that one in. The Southern game was a game of they started slow in the first half, couldn't get it going, turnovers. They fumbled the ball on the goal line late in the game. That would have been a touchdown would have tied it up. I think the touchdown would have tied it up, and they fumbled. It would have been 17-17. They fumbled. Southern went down, kicked the field goal. Then you had the Jackson State game. They started slow again, fumbles, giving Jackson State short field. Jackson State scored.
But who is starting slow is on who though?
It's on them. But when I say start slow, let me rephrase. They had turnovers in their own territory. Jackson State goes up by it was like 28-0 before they even had any semblance of an offense. And then next thing you know, if you just play the second half, they win that game, but it's a game of two halves. Then you look at this game this past weekend. Well, I ain't gonna go that far. I'm not gonna skip the Magic City Classic. Look at the Magic City Classic.
I mean, sooner I get it what you're saying, but at the same time, you can't. It's self-inflicted, true, but at the same time, sooner or later, that's who you are.
And I understand that, and I agree. So when we talk about all this stuff, saying does he get another year? So I put it like this. So from what I was explained, Coach Maynard is on his last year of his contract. Next year will be the last year of his contract. So do you risk letting them go and having to pay anything out, or do you just ride it out and then don't renew?
I mean, how serious are you about winning?
If all you worried about is homecoming, the Magic City Classic,
then maybe, I mean, if that's your expectations to just win them 2 games, then hey, more power to you. But I just feel like
I will
more than that.
Now I will say this. That's what people, saying, I guess fans have said and stuff. AD Bryant is at every game. And he's not in the press box. He's on the field. They're investing in that game day experience. Shout out to
so you should think that you want it to be a good product on the field.
I agree. So I think we're gonna find out. So I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying what I see.
So they're gonna finish above 500 because they're gonna. Well, I said they better not lose these next two, or he might be gone for real.
Yeah, who they got next? Bethune and then Valley, right?
Yeah. So they're gonna win. After you would think they're gonna win them two and be 6-5.
If they lose any one of them two, it's quite that is questions really gonna be had.
And we'll see.
I'm saying, and I listen. I think Coach Maine, because people talk about Coach Maine. I think Coach Maine has everything it takes to get it done, get the job. I think he has. I think he's got the players there to get it done. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. I don't know is every play they call. I don't know. There's got to be some. I don't know. But speaking of that, them last two games, Mississippi Valley took on Bethune-Cookman on Thursday night. Bethune got the win 20-7. If I'm not mistaken, Bethune scored most of that in the first half. Valley came out and scored. I think Bethune may have got added a field goal, and that was it. Mississippi Valley scored a touchdown later in the game, but that was it for that game. So every first-year head coach has at least one win. Coach Hampton is the only one that doesn't have a conference win as of now. So
yeah, that game went about how you would expect it to go.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. No disrespect to Valley, no disrespect to Bethune-Cookman. ESPN or the SWAC putting that on a Thursday night on ESPN for the world to see. Is that a good idea?
They did the same thing with A&M.
A&M or UAPB.
Yeah. That wasn't no better. And then this week you got Grambling and UAPB on Friday.
It's gonna be interesting.
I mean, the SWAC could have chose better games to showcase their product, but
Mm-hmm. I do want to go back real quick. FAMU and Alabama A&M. We talked all about Alabama A&M. I do want to say FAMU as a whole looked really good, minus a stint in that game where they just kind of looked like they fell asleep at the wheel. But it's gonna be interesting. And I'll get to that a little bit later. Arkansas Pine Bluff took on Prairie View. Prairie View got the win 38-14. Can you say anything else about this one? All right. Next, Texas Southern took on Jackson State, and this one became a tight game. Jackson State got the win 21-19.
Yep. Interception in the end zone to seal it on a 2-point conversion. So I mean, a lot of people wrote this Texas Southern team off when Andrew Body was gone, lost for the season, but these boys come and fight week in and week out, and they ain't no pushover, man. They still got some talent on their team. Owens had another 100-yard game rushing. So I mean, you look at what they doing over there. If they would have had Andrew Body, it would have been a totally different game. So I mean, they still got talent over there, and I feel like they might. I ain't gonna say they're gonna knock Alcorn off, but Alcorn better not go in there sleeping on them.
I don't think so. Alcorn trying to get that revenge. Alcorn,
That's true. That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying? Alcorn got that, you know what I'm saying, homecoming last year taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about this. A lot of people have said Coach McKinley is on the hot seat. Well, what we've seen, although they have not won, with what we've seen these last few games, and with what we know is, you know, saying the injury bug, does he get another chance?
I feel like he should. Other than the FAMU game, all right, we'll take the FBS games off.
Mm-hmm.
Grambling and FAMU were the only games where it was more than one possession game that they lost. You know what I mean? So they lost to Southern by 6. They lost Jack State by 2. So I mean, they in a lot of these games, and that's without their quarterback. So I feel like you gotta kind of take that in consideration and give him another year with Andrew Body and the healthy team.
Yeah. That's it for the SWAC. We can move on to the MEAC. All right, first up in the MEAC, we had Delaware State take on Morgan State, and I will say this: while Morgan State's offense is starting to show up, their defense is starting to take. I'm not gonna say they're taking a step back. This is conference play; anything can happen. I wasn't expecting Delaware State to score more than 10 points. Because I said I thought it was gonna be a single digit.
Yep.
They scored 17. I don't know if any of those were defensive.
Half was a lot, man.
Say what?
I told you 15 and a half was a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Again.
But yeah, Delaware State put up some points.
I don't know what to say. Morgan State's defense has they look really good against North Carolina Central, and then have not looked the same since. So, but at least the offense is starting to show up, and you know, saying kudos to them. So I'll leave it at that. Next up, man, Howard versus South Carolina State. South Carolina State got the win, 27-24.
He said he ain't dead yet, man. Jarvin Howard, though, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Juwan Howard.
Juwan, yeah. I knew what you meant.
But, man, talking about putting the team on your back. And Howard ain't have an answer for him, bro.
No, not at all. Best freshman.
I thought it was going to get ugly for a while there. Because what it was like 24-14, 27-14, something like that. At one point.
Yeah, 27-14.
I thought it was going to get ugly there for a second.
Yeah, Howell. 27 carries, 283 yards, 3 tutties. I will say Quentin Williams had a decent little game. 16 of 29, 193, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. They didn't have much of a running game, though.
Yeah. Corey Fields had a day on the ground, 7 carries for 96 yards, but when you running like you running with Howell,
Yeah.
do you need to pass? He was 3 of 11 passing Core Fields as well for 19 yards, 2 interceptions. So
I mean, if they can't stop the run, ain't no need to do
yeah,
it.
yeah. It seems to be a common theme.
But it seems to me like Howard kind of couldn't establish the run. I don't know what early in the year we talked about the offensive line, that running game that they had, and how they was gonna be able to, you know what I'm saying, move people around and push people around on offense, establish their physicality, establish the run, and now it seems like they can't get it going at all.
All right, got a question. Over under rushing yards for Howard. I don't know if you looked at it yet. 55 over under.
Come on, last week. Probably over, but barely.
Under 53.
Damn.
They had 26 carries for 53 yards, and 4 were by Quentin Williams. So I'm gonna assume those are sacks. So we'll say 22.
That's pretty bad.
22 carries. Yeah. And if you take out the sacks, it would have been 61 yards. So
yeah, that's what I was saying. But over, but barely. That's what I was thinking.
But yeah, with the sacks in there, that's part of what you call
it. It's wow.
Yeah. Next up, man, we got Norfolk State versus North Carolina Central, and Norfolk State put up a decent little fight. It was homecoming though. North Carolina Central did get the win, 38-24. So,
yeah, I figured it would be a Central win. Wasn't as easy as I thought it was gonna be, but they was comfortable enough.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real. Do you need to see anything more than just, hey, get the dub, you know what I'm saying, and get out of there from Central at this point?
No, not really.
What is it, survive in advance?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, just keep winning. So, next up, man, this one I had faith. I think I did pick. I said Hampton. I have to go back and watch.
You did.
Hampton took on Maine, got the win, 42-35. Shout out to Hampton.
Big win.
If I would have had that Marty McFly Sports Almanac, I still don't think I would have believed Hampton would have had more conference wins than North Carolina A&T this year. But here we are, and they do. Hampton is what, 5-4. I'm sorry, on the season. A lot of people shout out to Coach Prunty, getting it done. Shout out to him. I don't know. I wasn't ready for it, but obviously, here we go. Towson took on North Carolina Central. I'm sorry, North Carolina A&T. My bad, Josh. Don't get mad at me. Towson got the win, 42-32.
The offense starting to come around.
How many games left?
But
how many games left?
2. But
they better get a listen.
Where did their defense go?
If they want to save Dave some money,
it's a wrap. Dave got to pay at this point.
He was at 2 wins, right? 1 or 2 wins.
They got they could be. Well, never mind. They got Rhode Island and Campbell left.
They write the check. All right.
But what happened to all these teams who had one side struggling and the other side playing well? What happened to the side of the ball that's playing well once the other side starts turning the corner? It seems like we talked about so many teams tonight who the offense was struggling, the defense was playing well. Now the defense is struggling and the offense is playing well. Like, why can't these teams seem to get it all together on the same page at once?
Oh man, I'm just laughing because I'm looking. Southern over there singing, I woke up in A&T body. It's like they can't do that on offense.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
he need them to
bad.
win the last two.
Yeah, he said, right check day.
Right check, man.
He said he don't do checks though. Shoot, you better type that wire and get on Venmo, whatever you use.
Go
you do.
Get that credit card out there, my boy.
Now they said, no, I'm not doing credit card. So
don't he? How many bets he got? Because I know, don't he got one with Banks?
Oh, that's a wrap. No, maybe not. I think he might be safe with Banks because Banks only, what was it, one CIAA win for Banks? Yeah, and A&T only got one. No, A&T win ain't against a CIAA team. Oh shoot! He said he didn't. BJ Turner didn't play at the greatest homecoming on earth. Whew. Oh well. I do want to say, big shout. You know what I'm saying? If there is a silver lining, big shout out to A&T for still coming out and support. 80,000 in the building on campus is huge. Celebrating. So, you know, despite who the opponent is, he said he lost the Morgan bet already too. So, thanks.
Tough year, man.
Yeah. But here we go, man. It is what it is. But shout out to them for having that. First of all, I thank God that A&T and North Carolina Central had the homecomings they had with all those people, and there weren't any incidents that we've seen over the course of this season. So I am thankful for that. But yeah, that's all I got. That's the silver lining for you. But ain't no silver lining here. Eddie George, man, what happened? Tennessee State lost to Charleston Southern 35-21.
They've been playing so well, man.
Yeah. They've been getting by the skin of their teeth. So
yeah. I feel like that's one when they look back on it, they're gonna wish they could have that one back.
I ain't hear you. My bad. My computer's acting. What you say?
I said they're gonna look. That's gonna be one they're gonna look back at and wish they had back. The Charleston Southern game.
Yeah. I don't know how that affects them in their quest to try to make it to. I don't know how it's gonna affect them trying to make it to the playoffs.
Because I mean, Charleston Southern didn't really play well. I mean, they had like less than 200 yards offensively and still found a way to win.
Yeah. All right, my bad. Here we go. Man, with that being said, though, that's all of D1. So y'all know what time it is. Time to show off the D1 HBC our D1 HBCU top 10. So here we go. At number 10, moving into the top 10, South Carolina State at 4-5. Number 9, Morgan State at 3-5. Number 8, Prairie View at 4-5. Number 7, Hampton at 5-4. Number 6, Alabama State at 5-3. Way to bounce back, Alabama State, after saying that lost to Miles, and they've just steadily bounced back. At number 5, staying put at number 5, Jackson State at 7-3. At number 4, at 6-3, Tennessee State. Up to number 3, Alcorn State at 6-3. Number 2, FAMU at 8-1 stays put. And number 1, if North Carolina Central staying put as well. Also, big shout out to FAMU and North Carolina Central being number 7 and number 9 respectively in the coaches poll for FCS. That's huge accomplishments by them. So kudos to them. So yeah. I was just seeing that Dave said at this point, TSU is out at this point. They need a miracle. All right, man. Next up, we got, talk a little SIAC. Albany State took on Fort Valley State. Albany State got the win 13-7.
That was a good game.
Yeah. That win also means something else too. It put Albany State at number 2 in the conference. Shout out to our man Albie Score, soulful voice of sports, Mr. Jamie Walker.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah, he said it. He said the best thing to happen was that the SIAC did away with divisions, and every week meant something.
Yeah.
So that was big. I'm looking forward to it because a lot of teams are going away from conferences, so it's going to mean a lot more. I mean, going away from divisions, excuse me. So it's going to mean a lot for a lot of conferences. Next up, Allen took on Benedict. Benedict College got the win 37-9. So with that, both teams secured their spot in the SIAC championship on this weekend. So it'll be Albany State taking on Benedict in Atlanta. We'll talk about that more on Thursday.
That's gonna be a good one.
It is gonna be a really good one. Which is crazy because myself included, a lot of people wrote off Albany State. Albany State was predicted. I think this was 1-2. And everybody was like, man, how?
Yeah.
Quinn Gray, a new, first year head coach. Also having all these players who, trans or left or transfer. So yeah.
Hell of a season.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm sorry. Yeah, hell of a season. Next up, man, you got Tuskegee took on Miles. This game I thought was going to determine who won the second place, who would be playing against Benedict, but Miles lost. Tuskegee. Miles lost to who was it? Was it Albany State that beat them? Beat the break? Yeah, Albany State. Tuskegee lost to Edward Waters, so that pretty much was it. And Tuskegee just lost to Miles, so yeah, Miles got to beat them 35-10. It's a kind of a disappointing season. What else we got? Next up, Morehouse got the win, beating Clark Atlanta 35-21. But I don't think I guess it wasn't enough because shortly after that, today actually, it was announced that Coach Gerard, Wiltshire is out. And I would say after 1 year, but it wasn't even a year. He's out after 8 months.
That's crazy. And then that statement, man, the statement he put out was
damning
words, man.
Listen, it's what they say, it be your own people.
Yeah, for real.
Sports is a nasty business. it's you know what I'm saying, it's nasty work. I understand, and maybe, you know what I'm saying, Morehouse had somebody else in mind. But here's the thing. If this was the plan, there should have just named somebody interim coach until they could get the guy they're trying to get.
Yeah.
If you're willing to do this to one of your, you know what I'm saying, an alum of, you know what I'm saying, of your, you know what I'm saying, institution, why would I, as a coach from anywhere, think that, hey, let me go there, let me look at this school?
Yeah, I don't know, bro. And then how you gonna get a coach to come in and want to coach there?
Exactly my point. I don't
can't get a coach to want to come there. You can't get players to want to come there. So I mean,
yeah.
Where you go from here?
We'll see how this all shakes out and plays out, but it's nasty business, nasty work. And again, I could deep dive into this and go into this, but I'll wait because I don't know the full story.
Yeah, that's true. We just got the side of it. That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, it's optics of it don't look well. But man, that's it for the SIAC right now. Let's look at some of these other games from the CIAA. Virginia State versus Virginia Union. Virginia Union got the dub, 30-20.
MEAC Mike called it.
Yeah, he called it. So that secured their spot in the CIAA championship in Salem. Who will they be taking on? Well, let's look at another game. Winston-Salem State took on Fayetteville State, and Fayetteville State got the win 40-34. So Fayetteville State will be playing against Virginia Union in Salem.
That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah. Will we see a repeat from Fayetteville State?
Possibly. We'll talk about that
on Thursday
later this week, but we'll see.
And then the last game we have, Bowie State took on Lincoln, PA. They got the win 46-39. So that's it for that one. Other notable games. Check them out real quick. I'm sorry, give me one. I'll be typing too fast. Other notable games in the SIAC. Lane beat Savannah State 27-21 to end the season on a good note. And Edward Waters beat Virginia Lynchburg 41-17. Let's see. In this CIAA, Shaw beat St. Augustine 21-14. Johnson C. Smith beat Livingstone 38-17. Elizabeth City State beat Bluefield State 38-20. So that's all we got there. Next up, man, or anything else you got before we move on to the conference players of the week? All right, now conference players of the week. Of course, this is only for the MEAC, the SWAC, the MEAC, and the CIAA as of right now. But we mentioned it earlier, so let's go ahead and talk about it on the SWAC side. Player of the week for the offense. Quarterback, Aaron Allen from them Big Bad Braves. They almost had a clean sweep too. On the defensive lineman, Keenan Leachman. Again, Big Bad Braves. Specialist from the Big Bad Braves, the kicker, Noah Kiani. And the newcomer from Bethune-Cookman, Tink Boy, wide receiver. So congratulations to those gentlemen. The MEAC, Warren Howell, offensive player of the week.
Obviously.
Yeah, from South Carolina State. Defensive player of the week from North Carolina Central, Cole Jones. The rookie of the week was Todd Smith from Morgan State. The offensive lineman of the week. I'm sorry, is that offensive? I can't even see. Defensive lineman of the week was I can't tell if that offensive or defensive because it's offensive. My bad. Offensive lineman of the week from South Carolina State, Nick Tasty. And the specialist of the week from North Carolina Central, Mr. Adrian Olivo. He also actually accepted an invite to the HBCU Legacy Bowl as well this week. So, you know what I'm saying? Big week for him. For the CIAA Food Line Players of the Week for Week 10, at quarterback from Bowie State, Jordan Morris. From Virginia Union, the running back, surprise, surprise, Jada Byers. Wide receiver from Lincoln, PA, Malachi Langley. Offensive lineman from Virginia Union, Justin Meade. His name is a common name on his list. The defensive lineman from Fayetteville State was Sean Robinson. The linebacker was from Virginia Union, Mr. Shamar Graham. From Shaw, the DB of the week is Akithio Carson. The kick returner of the week from Elizabeth State was Stephen Smith. And the rookie of the week from Bowie State, Mr. Jordan Morse. So, again, congratulations to all those young men. You know what I'm saying? Well deserved. That's it, man.
That's all I got.
That's all I got, too. Anybody got anything in the chat? Y'all got anything before we get up out of here? We'll be back on Thursday talking more about these the championship games. We're a little more at the standings for I think it's what I gotta look and see what Alcorn scenarios to see because they might be ready to wrap up the West as well. Maybe I don't know if it's like one more win or what, but they probably getting close to wrapping up the West. FAMU officially got the SWAC East championship trophy as well. So, yeah. You got anything? No, you said no. You ain't got nothing else.
No, I'm good.
All right. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. We'll be back on Thursday, and like that, we out. This show was presented by BetOnline.ag.
Bring me my money.